Hello guys, how you guys are doing today? Hopefully you guys are doing great. And in this video, what we are going to be doing is we are going to do lateral movement to the domain controller, or to the AD. That's what it's called. That's what the the name of that machine is, or the IP is also 192.168.1.50, because we got the credentials for the user Savitar, or the hash, and we are going to be doing some trick with that. So as you remember, on the previous video, we were able to use IPsec, and we got the LM, and then we got the NTLM. But for Savitar, we did not get the LM. So what we need to do, we need to fill out the LM with 32 zeros and then put the NTLM, because we did not get the LM. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and go to Metasploit, and we are going to use the exploit. And it's going to be the Windows SMB, and then PSExec. Awesome. So from here, we need to set the SMB domain to pentesting.local. We need to set the SMB user to Savitar. Then we need to set the R host to 192.168.1.50. This one is the domain controller. If you guys remember, when we did the nmap scans and all that, we figured out that this one was the domain controller because of what ports were open, right? Okay, and then after that, we want to set the local port on my machine to 4489. Awesome. So we have all of that. Let's go ahead and go to options, see if we missed something. So 7171, is that the hash? Verify. Yep, it is. Awesome. So listening, my local is good. And if you wonder what payload I'm using the Windows x64 Meterpreter, meaning that we're going to get our Meterpreter session back, and it's a reverse TCP. All right, and it is an x64 because that's what I had from when we did those nmap scans. We were able to figure out that it was an x64, a 64-bit version of Windows. I think it was 2016. All right, so after we do that, we can just go ahead and run and see what we get. Awesome. So now from here, what you can do is get UID. Awesome. Then you want to drop to shell, do a host name, see if we are in the correct one. Awesome. We are in AD. And if you do a who am I, you're going to see that we are the NT authority system. So that's awesome. Let's go ahead and exit out of the shell to go back to the interpreter session. Okay, so what can we do from here? Well, what we could do is from here, since we are in the AD, we can just go ahead and load Kiwi, and from Kiwi we can do help. And you can do a creds all, and this one is going to be dumping all the stuff that we have in here. So a good one that we found over here is the NTLM for the domain controller, and also the NTLM for the administrator. And this guy is the administrator. He is the enterprise admin. He's the one that has the highest I guess that the highest permission in the domain. So let's go ahead and copy that. Let's go ahead and go to hash. Let's go ahead and quit. Let's go ahead and do a nano hash, so we can add all of this. Go all the way to the bottom. So we found some good stuff from over here. Let's go ahead and put that this one is from 192.168.1.50. You can also use cherry tree if you want to. There we go. So we got this bad boy, and we have a lot of good credentials in here. Awesome. So let's go ahead and exit and save it, and then we can just go ahead and cat the hash. Awesome. So then after that, what else can we do? Well, we have access basically to the entire domain. We have access to the domain controller over here. So all we could do, we can keep dumping and see if we find some other stuff. Let's see. We can see if the user, the administrator, we can see if this guy over here is part of the enterprise admins. So we can go ahead and do background this, and we are going to, let's go ahead and search for I think it's enum domain groups, and search enum domain group user. There we go. This one is the one that I want to use, or we can just use 0. We can just go by the number. Let's go to see the options. We want to set the group to enterprise admins, and the enterprise admins, they have more access than the domain admins. The enterprise admins are able, if you have multiple forests, he's going to be able to go from one forest into another. So this is really good if you have like a multiple forest, or not, but an active directory, a domain with multiple forests, like the pen testing the local, or dev.pen testing the local. If you have multiple domains, if you have that enterprise admin, you should be able to get into the other forest. So with that being said, I want to set the session, but I don't know what session I got. So let's go ahead and list the session. So session number 4. So let's go ahead and set the session to number 4, and then let's go ahead and run it. See what we have. So as you can see right now, running module AD against AD, and there's only one user in enterprise admin, and it is a pen testing administrator. Like I said before, this one is the one that has the highest permission in Active Directory. So we were able to get that. So that's really, really awesome. So what else can we do? I think that's about it. So since we got this one over here, we can also go ahead, if you guys remember from the previous video, like if we got this access, like what would you do from here? Well, what you could do is that you can go ahead and establish persistent. How do you establish persistent? Well, an easy way is to just go ahead and use and add a user over here. So if we go ahead and do a we are going to use post Windows manage add user options. So we're going to go ahead and add a user over here. So you want to set add group or set add to group. We want to set that to true, and set group to administrators. See if it's going to let us do that for you. So I wanted to add it to the administrators, and let's see what happens when you do that from the domain controller. Set password 123, set the session to 4, set username to admin. Awesome. So let's go ahead and run and see what happens. The interpreter session died. And what's going to happen? So the post module execution was completed. It was interrupted by the console user. So let's go ahead and see. Can we use that? Try to run it again. Run. So we got it back. Let's go ahead and background it. And let's go ahead and go back to this one to add a user. Go ahead and do options. And we have session password administrators true, and add to domain. Let's say set add to domain to false. See what happens. There we go. Okay, set session, because we got a new session 5, run. So it keeps dying. So the reason is that if you ever go to a domain controller and if you try to add any local users, there is no local users in a domain controller, because that domain controller is actually running a AD. So an AD is the one that has all the users. So that's why this is not working. So this backdoor, if you try to do that on an Active Directory in a domain controller, this is not going to work. And it's also not working because we are running as the NT system, and the NT system is not in the domain. So for you to be able to do this backdoor, this easy backdoor to just add a user to a domain controller from a account like the NT system that is not in in Active Directory, it is not going to work. So therefore, on a later video, it's probably going to be at the end of the session, I'm going to show you how to add persistent to a domain controller. So with that being said, let's go ahead and we can just go ahead and cancel that. Go ahead and go and run this one more time so we can get another session. Awesome. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you on the next one.